Hello, and welcome to AWCI's webinar. Today's presentation is The Value of Data Ownership for the Subcontractor Community, sponsored by Kahua Incorporated. I am Anne-Marie Salvatelli, AWCI's Director of Education. Should you have any questions during today's broadcast, please submit them using the question box in your GoToMeeting dashboard. We will have a brief Q&A at the end of our presentation, and we will make every attempt to get all of your questions answered. Kahua has provided materials for you to download. Please view the handouts and click on the PDFs to download those to your computers. And thank you to today's sponsor, Kahua. I'd like to take a moment and introduce Jeff Burmeister, manager of the Subcontractor Network for Kahua Incorporated. It's a collaborative cloud project management software for the subcontractor industry. Before joining Kahua, Jeff served as president of Project Dock Control, the leading provider of project management solutions specifically designed for subcontractors. And over the last 25 years, Jeff has led product development, implementation, marketing, and partnership alliances with additional responsibilities for the sales and product management of all three software companies. So with that, Jeff, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. It's been 15 years since British mathematician and Tesco marketing mastermind Clive Humby shouted, "Data is the new oil," meaning data has become more valuable when it's processed and refined. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to get started today with a synopsis of what we're talking about around data ownership. This was an opportunity through AWCI for us to give a presentation and talk through the different ideas and how data ownership starts to affect your company and your business and how you interact with GCs and owners today. Again, my name is Jeff Burmeister. I am part of the Subcontractor Network here at Kahua. I started my career 35 plus years ago, believe it or not, in construction. I had a third generation family tie with a company called Pepper Construction in Chicago, Illinois. Back then, technology was not a key factor in anything that we did in the 90s, if you remember. We did everything on paper. We actually redlined our drawings ourselves. We actually had everything coming in via a fax machine. That was our data delivery. We had no access, no opportunity to email. One of the greatest stories I remember when I first came out of college is I had a mentor. The mentor that was assigned to me was actually teaching me on how to manage and work with, customers and subcontractors in the Chicago area. So we went to his local watering hole, to his plot where he actually had his own bar stool. We sat down and he started to teach me how to draft a contract on a cocktail napkin. So you can understand just how far we've come in those 35 plus years now that I'm working in technology. One of the things that I hope you all remember is we did everything with paper. It didn't matter what it was, everything started with paper. We built 3-ring binders. We put all the submittals, we put all the samples, every single correspondence log that we've ever created was actually on paper, and that was our data. We had no other means to keep track of it other than something we could touch and feel. We created so many mountains of paper. Companies like Iron Mountain actually were built and created so they could store the massive amount of records that were created by all of these companies and all of these projects. If you remember, in the late 1990s, 2 small companies had a very radical idea to collaborate. They decided to collaborate with documents and drawings over the internet. This would help to eliminate that multiple copies of the same document that's getting pushed around and greatly reduce the headaches caused when there were so many double versions. Nobody ever knew which and/or the same document existed with 2 parties. Constructware and eBuilder seemed like radical alternatives back then. When they were introduced to the GC and owner markets, and at that time, very few in the industry knew about the internet. But within a couple of years, the industry standards like Prolog and Expedition, were rushing to webify their products. They were trying to keep up by taking their server-based applications and getting them onto the web. One of the ideas we have here is we created a poll question. I think, Anne-Marie, do we have that ready?
Yes, we do. And so now we just launched that. So everyone should see that on your screen.
All right, the poll question is asking if you guys would be willing to share how many different types of software products have you been using because of your different general contractors that you're working with. We tried to create some smaller numbers, but you know, that 1 to 3 range and up. If you wouldn't mind just taking a few seconds and letting us know kind of where you fall in there. Thank you.
Okay, and folks are hitting their vote button, so we'll just give it about 10 more seconds and let them kind of get that in. Okay, so we're going to close it. Thank you for everyone who was participating, and then we're going to share the results. And there you should see those, Jeff.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll work more with that data a little bit at the end ourselves, so thank you. Okay, getting back into it. One of the permanent effects of having all these solutions actually started to bring true collaboration in real time, with the goal being creating a single source of truth. The unfortunate effect of that is we also created a data ownership problem. These once paper records are now going to reside in a single data collection, which creates the obvious question: who owns the data? Now, I borrowed this diagram from Autodesk so I can depict how the information is flowing in all the different aspects. So one of the first ones that we always think about is today's normal is the general contractors are leading the change to implement solutions because they truly did see this as a game-changing opportunity. What it does, it takes all the information that's being fed from the different constituents and feeds it to the project. Now, what's going to happen at some point is the owners start to become the main builders. So they caught on. So they began to deploy and build and use their own systems. This was also another frustration to the GCs because the information was flowing in different directions, but yet the owner was in charge of it. So everything became a debate. Whose system will be used? And with the normal prevailing answer was usually the owner. Now, the difference is what happens with the specialty contractors, drywall contractors like yourselves. You guys have never been able to win this argument. The owner might specify that everybody uses their system. The GC is probably going to specify everybody uses their system. But never could a drywall contractor require everybody use their system upstream so that they could keep track of this information. The result was normally you guys are all creating and managing your data on your side and then double entry and recreating it in whatever was being demanded on the project. So what that ends up doing is it requires double entry. And that means you put it in once for the general contractor and once on your side so that you have it and it's only submitted to that one. To make it even more frustrating and challenging for you guys, just like the poll, is that there's many different requirements by your general contractors out there today. Now, you might ask, what's the big deal? Simply, data drives our decisions. The better data, the better chance of making good business decisions. Think of it this way. As a drywall contractor, wouldn't it be helpful and beneficial for bidding or managing your subs or even being able to collect years and years of data, being able to look, what was the cost of the rework that we did on average? What about our production related to the work that's been completed? How much has been on time? How much has been on budget? How did it compare to our original budget or estimate? And I ask you this question. When you think of yourselves individually, how much of your own personal time could have been saved by maintaining a single PMIS system that was able to communicate with your GC or with the owner? How many fewer errors could have been eliminated or been based on just single data entry? The good news is technology is catching up. Before we go any further, I want to offer a few cautions. What we're talking about today is the concept of connected construction data. This is actually a new phrase, it's a term, and it's even the buzzword that's being used throughout the industry leaders to paint a picture of the bright future of how technology companies envision improving collaboration and its effects on all of your upcoming or current projects. Each voice, though, does understand the concept differently. In a recent podcast, Procore's CEO, when asked about acquiring other software companies, was quoted as saying, "We will never stop until we are done connecting everyone in construction on a global platform." In context, connected construction means that the entire project team is collaborating via their own products and tools, typically provided by the GC, as we've talked about, meaning everyone works within a single project deployment. The team is connected. These advantages are the same as they were when Constructware and eBuilder were first brought to attention in the PMIS system in the internet in the 90s. Using the cloud for real-time collaboration is a definite benefit for any complex business processes. And we know that a construction project is the sum of hundreds and hundreds of these complex processes. Long before Procore had acquired their first complementary software, Trimble and Autodesk used the same strategy to connect more players by acquiring more pieces. Trimble has acquired over 100 plus companies and Autodesk themselves over 50 plus companies. Each speaks about the connected construction differently and is heavily invested in BIM and their PMIS solutions, attempting to leverage data from varied design and field technologies. In a post for constructionexecutive.com earlier this year, Jim Lynch, who's the VP of Construction at Autodesk, said, "The very foundation of connected construction is a common data environment." He went on to further explain and refer that his foundation is a centralized platform for data. We now need to define the term platform. This term gets used very differently as well. If we look at the definition on the screen, this definition of the word platform states, "A platform, when referring to software, means an operating system, an operating environment, or a database under which various smaller applications programs can be designed to run." Well, at Kahua, we use the term a little bit differently. We use it more technically. Understand that neither Procore nor Trimble nor Autodesk tools are all built on a single software platform. So again, we ask, why does this matter? Because to connect one software technology to another requires a complicated integration. These integrations make sense for an enterprise solution for an entire organization, but are not practical at a project level. For example, the GC will often pay to integrate with its back office accounting systems because cost information needs to flow from project teams to the accounting teams and back and forth for all their projects that are happening. But the GC, nor the sub or the owner would try to integrate with each other's systems. That could not work. Each scenario brings a different value. Each version of connected construction is better than unconnected, but no one addresses the problem PMIS systems created years ago: data ownership. The ideal scenario would be a universal common platform. Each party uses and owns their own data. This is how Kahua built a low-code application platform with open APIs available for interoperability. This would allow you as drywall contractors to enter RFIs, daily reports, submittals, or even any and all of your cost change events. You put this into your database, but it's still connected to your GCs, and in some cases allowing for the immediate upstream connection and sharing with the owner of the project. Each party owns its own data set and the piece of the process. Excuse me. While Kahua is not yet the universal common platform that all industry tools are built on, neither was Amazon. If we remember, this was not the most popular shopping experience until the majority of global retail shoppers started to adopt it, and then it became a household name. The good news is that technology does exist today that allows the construction industry the ability to eliminate the need for all this double data entry. Today, there are owners, there are GCs, and there are subcontractors using the power of connected construction and having very impressive results. To summarize, there are 3 types of common connected construction terms that we use today, related to, as we talk about these PMIS systems. The first one, as you see, is everything in one place, but the one place belongs to a party. What that means is the traditional, everybody's entering in their data into one location and it stays there, but when you get done with the project, you don't have any of that data available for yourself. The second type is everything is in many places, accessible as needed and partially connected. And again, this is the concept of different one-off integrations where all the information is being entered into one solution, but they're not all connected at the end, so you have one single source. And of course, the final one is each party is connecting its own data through one single PMIS system, meaning you have a common data platform. To summarize, if ownership and control of the data you create is important to you, then connected construction is what we need to talk about. So as we summarize the different thoughts we've gone through today, what I just want to remind you is collaboration is now part of your construction DNA. I'm sure you're experiencing it, and I'm sure you're having it on all of your projects. The other thing to truly think about is that the data ownership, being your data, is absolutely essential for your profitability. It allows you to understand, examine, make decisions or changes for anything in the future. Looking at the landscape of what is available for everybody today in that PMIS technology, only, or the majority, only address one of each party's data needs. And then finally, the technology does exist, but we really do need to demand more from it. Thank you again. I appreciate AWCI and the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Jeff Burmeister and I'm with Kahua. So Anna Marie, I'll turn it back to you to see if we have any questions that have been submitted.
And thank you, Jeff. Yes, we actually have a couple questions. So let me start out with the first one here. Participant is saying that they do a lot of BIM coordination with other trades. How can we better leverage the data in our BIM models?
Great question. Thank you very much. Well, there's a lot of different ways, but one of the things you want to take advantage of with PMIS systems is being able to actually get that data uploaded and be able to share it. There's a lot of different ways that are out there, but let's be clear, PMIS systems are not designed to be BIM. BIM is a completely separate standalone concept with the models, but the key there is they're very large. So you want to have options available that you can share those or allow people to access them through your PMIS so that, you know, you're not trying to, which most cases you can't email very large files out.
Thank you. This next one has 2 parts to it. Do you have clients using the Kahua to Kahua setup now? And can it work for owners and AEs as well?
Another great question. Thank you very much. So as far as the first part of the question, the Kahua to Kahua, yes, we've had, it's an E&R top 1,500 contractor that we've worked with for the past year that has been working on basically all of their projects, allowing their subcontractors to initiate RFIs directly through their Kahua version. And then it absolutely goes directly to that, say, project manager or to that director on that other project, so they can immediately respond and then manage that information, which kind of leads to your second question. Is everything then is connected based on the owner being also part of that network or that project, so the information will flow completely all the way upstream, so that everybody or anybody who needs to be part of that review process can, you know, kind of put their 2 cents in. But the nice thing is there's no emails, there's no additional copy and pasting. That same information will flow back downhill, so the subcontractor can see not just how the statuses are moving, but they can also have that information updated directly in front of them.
Thank you. A lot of good to know there. Last question, I'm sorry, hold on here. Does Kahua have drawing and model viewing built in?
Yes, we actually do. It's part of our drawing management that's built into Kahua, so that if you're uploading all your drawings, you're going to be able to mark them up. You're going to be able to view them. You can actually mark them up mobilely. So all the same capabilities that, you know, you're used to out in the marketplace is available within the Kahua product, especially the subcontractor product itself.
Another one that popped up. How do we take advantage of the data in reporting?
Yeah, I talk about data all day. So again, what you want to think about is, you know, there's a lot of different ways, from, you know, dashboards to just simple reports to actually exporting data out and using Captiva and all these different, you know, kind of data analytical softwares that are out there. And in some cases, just simple things that you can look at, you know, so you can have what we call indicators. So, you know, once that information starts flowing in, and the fact that you're reusing a lot of that information over and over again, it's really going to give you a chance to see that information from one stop while you're in, you know, your project, or, you know, at a higher value of looking at the whole entire company. And in some cases, creating your own reporting structure that you want to get from it.
Fabulous. Let's see. One more came in here. What PMIS systems are built for specialty contractors? Is Procore for subs? Is Kahua for subs?
Great loaded question. So without being an infomercial, I mean, there's a lot of great PMIS systems out there today, and, you know, we acknowledge that, and, you know, we're very happy to say that comfortably, we really feel we've built a very easy to use solution. Again, you know, kind of tooting my horn for a second, but I mean, 25 years in the subcontractor space around software, we've really tried to hone the product in, you know, to how subcontractors work. Again, there's a ton of different products out there today that all come from different angles, different, you know, decisions. Our goal really is to give a very easy to use, something that's dedicated to how they do their business, and something that easily works on the mobile. We've spent a lot of time with field to office, so that, you know, those superintendents, those project foremen can do the things that they do, dailies and photos. So yeah, I mean, you know, I don't want to, you know, get into a huge comparison about everybody. I'm happy to talk about it, but you know, I think it's very important to know that, you know, the solution needs to be designed for specifically for subcontractors.
Very good. Well, I think that you've answered all the questions that came in.
Okay.
So thank you for taking the time, and thank you to everyone for submitting them. But again, AWCI would just like to thank our attendees, and to you, Jeff, for joining us today, and extend an additional thank you to Kahua for their sponsorship of today's webinar. A recording will be distributed tomorrow afternoon via email to all of you. So thank you so much. Stay safe and have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.